Welcome to the Etiquette Show, our entree to the world of culture, gender, sexuality, tradition, business, and so much more. Hi, I'm Regina Gershman.
And I'm Dr. Sam Dubé. Together, we're going to take you on an extraordinary journey with engaging people from around the world, starting from right here in Ottawa, the capital of Canada.
In this edition of the Etiquette Show, YouTuber and dating and relationship expert Aric Angelo talks with Dr. Dubé about the importance of not losing yourself while becoming irresistible. Then, book marketing expert Brian Feinblum shares his 3 decades of experience helping thousands of authors live their dreams. Looking for that perfect, delicious, and nut-free treat sent directly to your door? Then look no further. Join Nick as he visits Baked Cravings founder Craig Watson and his ultimate treat, cupcakes in a jar. Coming up right now on The Etiquette Show.
Hi, Dr. Sam Dubé here once again for The Etiquette Show. And joining me today is Aric Angelo, who is a YouTuber and a dating and relationship expert for men. Thank you for joining us today, Aric.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
And incidentally, Aric is joining us from Bali, Indonesia. I'm jealous. So it is 12 hours ahead for her. I'm into the evening here and she's in the morning. And so if you see the lighting difference, you know why.
And the tan difference.
And the tan. Oh, are you saying that I'm kind of a pasty beige? Is that the deal? I think
maybe.
I'm part Asian. I shouldn't be pasty beige, but anyway, I have to work on that for sure. I got to get that.
I live in Bali. I'm in the sun every day.
This is jealousy speaking. I'm envious. So the subtitle of your site was Becoming the Man She Can't Resist While Not Losing Himself or Her. Could you elaborate on that a little bit for us, Aric?
Absolutely. Listen, like at the end of the day, every man wants to be irresistible to a woman. Like, oh my God, I just can't resist that guy. But what a lot of men do is they make the mistake is they start losing themselves to get a woman, right? So the whole goal is, be irresistible. Become the man she can't resist. But don't lose yourself in the process. This is all about becoming yourself, enjoying being yourself. And the other thing is a lot of men, they watch a lot of YouTubers like myself and they learn tactics to get women, but they don't know how to actually keep women. And so that's my goal is, listen, become the kind of guy she can't resist, but don't lose yourself. And also don't lose her in the process, because what's the point of doing all this work if you lose yourself and you lose the woman?
So how does this losing manifest itself?
So for men, when they start losing themselves, they go into the nice guy. They want to people please. They become her best friend and they're not asserting themselves. They're not asserting their desires and what they want. A lot of guys kind of play under the radar and then it's just like they hang out with her, but they never come out and say, hey, I'm into you. Like, you're attractive. I feel a vibe between you and I. You and I need it. Let's go out. Let's explore this romantically. Most guys aren't going to do that. They're going to play it super cool. And when they do that, I say you're forfeiting yourself. You're forfeiting your voice, your desires, what you actually want, because you're trying to play it safe with this woman so that your ass doesn't get rejected. That's what it boils down to. You're playing it safe to avoid rejection, but you inherently are already rejecting yourself, because you're not being true to what you really want by vocalizing that to her.
I have to admit, I looked over some of your stuff. There's a fair amount of it out there, and you're a prolific YouTuber. But I was actually really moved by quite a bit of your material. And one of the things that you really emphasize is a man knowing himself. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it relates to relationships with women?
Yeah. When I say knowing yourself, it's like, we use terms like confidence and these sort of things, but really, knowing yourself is being intimate with yourself, understanding your wounds, what is it that causes you to disengage with women, understanding what makes you unique, what sets you apart. When we start comparing ourselves to other people, a lot of guys will compare themselves to other men. I don't have the muscles that he has. I don't have the money he has. I don't have the car he has. I don't have the looks he has. You start doing that because you don't know the value that you bring. And when you understand your value, you walk into a room, and I don't care who you are, you go, but these people are not me. And so in knowing ourselves, knowing what sets us apart from everyone else, so that we don't get into this comparison game. And I've seen guys who are very unattractive. I've seen guys who are overweight, who don't have that much money, but because they are so unapologetic about who they are, because their self-acceptance runs so deep, these guys get beautiful women, and people are like, what is it? Does he have a magical stick below? Like, what's going on? How does he? And it's like, he's unapologetically himself. And that is such a rare breed. Most people are trying to conform and fit into a box. They're telling the same jokes. They're using the same expressions and euphemisms, because they've been conditioned like, oh, this is how you show up. This is what's acceptable in the world. But when a person shows up unapologetically and they just are who they are in their raw essence, their raw truth, that becomes very sexy to a woman because it's so unique. It's so rare.
Wow. So that goes back to your idea of bringing it back to the man, taking responsibility, learning about himself. You said learning about their wounds. Then you also talked about the practical aspect, because you did say, and I think we all know this, people do judge a book by its cover. So what aspects then do you talk about with that idea in that regard?
Yeah, I think, when I talk to a lot of my male clients, they just don't give an F about their appearance, about their diet, about any of these things. And I'm like, wait a minute. Men are visual guys. You want a bombshell. Meanwhile, you're walking around with a tummy. You're walking around with clothes that are 3 times bigger than your body, which tells the world, please don't look at me. Don't see me. And you want the Baywatch babe. Buddy, get a reality check. Come on. No, absolutely not. And so it's like, yes, if you want a woman that's attractive and you want that high value sort of woman, how are you showing up? Because she's never going to notice you if you're, hiding behind, excessive eating, if you're wearing clothes that say, don't look at me. And I always tell men, like, here's a reality check. I think men have been inundated and brainwashed with a lot of old school, antiquated ideas about what women want. Women are still visual creatures. When you wear that low V-neck, we're looking at your chest. When we see you in those tight jeans, we're looking below and thinking, is that going to bring me pleasure later on? When you wear that shirt that shows those cut arms, we're like, yeah, I want him to pick me up and do things with me with those arms. And so men think that, oh, we're so unique. We're visual. We're so unique. No, you're not. Women are just as visual. You're not that unique. Women are just as visual. And so what are you giving her to look at?
In many of your videos, and you emphasize the sexuality of women unapologetically. Yeah. I mean, you have videos on sexual technique and attracting women, like having her think about you all the time. There's some really interesting points there. But what you said could be construed as harsh. So I want to bring it back to one of your primary foci is when you say, know your own value in this world. You try to get men to understand and know that you are loved. And I thought that was a very powerful statement. And you literally talk directly to men. Could you comment on that, please?
Yeah, but I'll bring the clothes thing into that because the two go hand in hand. When we wear clothes that reveal who we are, that's us saying, like, I love myself enough to be presented to this world. And what I find, and it's actually psychological, and this is why I kind of come with a punch about clothes and things like that, because it is a form of lack of self-worth and self-value. I worked with clients, and in the past, I used to take them clothes shopping, and I would say to them, what your pants that are too big, your shirt that's too big, what you're essentially saying is, I don't want to be seen. And if I don't want to be seen, it's because somewhere inside, like, I don't value myself. And if I don't value myself, then why would the world around me value me? And so when we take care of ourselves, it's just like a car. You get a nice car and you want to wash it. You want to take care of it. Why? Because you value it. And I try to remind men, value you. Because when you show that you're valuing yourself by keeping your hair trimmed, keeping your face groomed, wearing those nice clothes that show your body, it's like showing to the world, hey, I really value myself. And valuing ourselves is essentially saying, I love myself. I take pride in this person. You know, I always tell people, there's only one you. This world, we don't get any more. We get one you. So make sure that you take care of yourself the best way that you can, and then show us that you really value yourself.
So it's not a superficial thing then, in order to you know, wear the nice clothes and hairstyle and present oneself well and with appropriate behavior as well. And it's interesting because, you know, so many guys, or let me ask you this question then, what would you say to a guy? Well, you know, I want women to love me for me, you know, not my clothes and not my car.
Sure,
and not my watch.
sure.
How do you address that comment?
Yeah. Inherently, we all want to be loved for ourselves, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, you judge a book by its cover. She's never going to have the opportunity to get to know you if your body language, if your clothing is constantly saying, don't look at me. And my question would be, do you actually want her to love you for you? Because if you do, then you would show up in your world, you would show up in the world as a person ready to be received by saying, hey, I'm out here. I'm not hiding myself. And the only way she's going to get to know the real you is on a very practical level, is what you're showing her visually, something that someone she wants to get to know. And I always tell guys, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Many guys bitch about, you know, women aren't doing this, women aren't doing that. And I'm like, but you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're your biggest problem. And why make it difficult for a woman to get to know you by putting up all these barriers, by wearing clothes that are too big to where she never gets to notice you?
Right. So it's about projecting what's within and the security within and the knowledge of self within to without. Right. It's about that message. And because how else are people going to know, even from a distance or without really deep, intimate interaction? You'll never get to that stage. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. If I walk out here in Bali and I've got on massive sweats and my hair's oily and I'm wearing big sunglasses and big sweatpants and a big sweat t-shirt, as opposed to walking on the streets looking like this, which girl do you think is going to get more attention?
I don't know. I think you'd probably still be attractive in the sweaty clothes and everything. Yeah.
Until you get close and you smell me, and then you're like,
oh yes, but pheromones, the magic of pheromones.
But yeah, it's like that person who's putting forth effort, we pay attention to that. And watch any makeover show. You know, when back in the days on these shows where they do makeover and the person, you know, they're not dressing, they're not taking care of themselves. And or watch Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. Every time they do a makeover on these people and they ask them, why are you dressing like this? Why are you doing it? And it comes to self-value. The person breaks down and there's some form of self-rejection in their life. And so on Queer Eye, the Straight Guy, they start addressing the rejection, where the problem is, the heaviness. And then the person transforms and they take pride in their appearance. What's going on inside will always manifest on the outside. Yeah,
there's some extraordinary transformations in those shows you're referring to. That's for sure. Now, you and I spoke briefly earlier, and we talked a little bit about, you know, the dictates of society imposed on men to not be emotional, to not show vulnerability, to not explore their emotions. And yet you have this concept in your material and your program about becoming an emotional warrior. Can you talk about that for us?
Yeah, you know, I feel like I always tell women this when women are like, they're upset. Why don't men show up emotionally? Why can't they just communicate their emotions? And then they will tell men what we tell children: use your words, use your words. And I'm sure any woman who's watching this is going, preach it, sister.
I also tell that to a child, though, right? Use your words.
Use your words, use your words. And I always tell women this. I say men have been taught by society that if God forbid you say as a little boy, ouch, I'm hurt, a guy starts crying as a little kid, what happens? Be a man. Boys don't cry. You know, one of my clients just said, you know, that expression he felt he grew up with was from the Tom Hanks movie. There's no crying in baseball. I said, that's BS. Get a fastball at 95 miles per hour throwing at your balls. Yeah. And there is crying in baseball. Yeah. And so men have been they've had their voice taken away when it comes to emotions. Fast forward to they become an adult. That's been ingrained in them. And then they get in a relationship with a woman that's scary because she's the unknown. And then he has to use his voice What voice? That voice was taken away when he was a 5-year-old child, when his father was telling him there's no crying in baseball. So I always tell a woman like this, women haven't been as empowered in the work field. And so I say, this is how it is for a man. When you tell a man, use your voice, do this, do that, it's like women are starting to get more powerful in this, but it's like 10 years ago when women weren't as empowered in the workforce, you going up to your boss and saying, look, all these assholes around me are getting a pay raise. I do a better job. I'm performing better than them. My numbers are higher than all of them. I want a damn raise. How confident are you going to feel to say that? Oh God, I'd be terrified. That's exactly how a man feels when he has to show up in a relationship and has to communicate his emotions. He has had that opportunity taken away from him. So what I tell men is, yes, you're starting off at a disadvantage, 100%. And that's where I have empathy for men, because I'm like, it's really just not fair. But at the end of the day, we can bitch about what's not fair, or we can do something about it. And so this is where I tell men, it's time for you to be an emotional warrior. We watch movies like Braveheart and The Patriot, where we see men and they're full warrior. And I was like, that's what a woman wants in a man. She wants that emotional fortitude, so that when conversations get hard, that the guy just doesn't shut down. He doesn't put his emotions inside, but he stands in the tension and can have that conversation from his heart, that he has that emotional fortitude. And I call that, when a man can do that, he is an emotional warrior. And that's what all of my work is about. It's what my programs are about. It's like helping men become that kind of emotional warrior. Because at the end of the day, when a woman's cheating on her man, when she leaves a man, most of the time it's some form of emotional neglect. He's not showing up for her heart, and she can feel the neglect there, and she walks away. She finds a guy who's more sympathetic. And it's such a disservice for men to do this to themselves.
And we talked about, being a nice guy, and we talked about just now the men losing their voice. And let's talk a little bit about some of the current happenings with the Me Too movement, with, even third wave feminism. We talked about men being fearful. Yeah. Can you address that point? Because you and I spoke very briefly about that, and I'd love people to hear your view on that.
Oh, I get so much shit on my YouTube channel from men when I say, use your voice, do this. And they go, are you kidding me? Are you crazy, woman? Are you trying to get me put in jail? Don't you know what the Me Too movement is about? And I talk to so many men, and men, I think when they're with women, they try to empower them and they want to placate them and be like, yes, women's empowerment. But what they're not being honest about is they're actually scared. They're scared to approach women. They're scared to touch women. And so it's like, I'm all for women's empowerment because I'm an empowered woman and I'm all about women empowerment. But when we have to villainize the opposite sex, that's when it becomes toxic. You can empower yourself without making someone else the bad guy. Because the minute we have to make someone the bad guy, that's not empowerment. That's victimization.
Yeah.
You're victimizing yourself.
Yeah.
And so, men are terrified right now. They're like, if I do this, this is going to happen. If I do this, this is going to happen. And I think that, I always tell men, like, okay, you're going too far on this. If you touch a woman's arm, you're not going to jail. Calm down. Quit being the drama queen. I think some men are taking it too far, and they're taking it too far because they're not being transparent in those conversations. When they're with their girlfriends and they're having these Me Too conversations, that men aren't standing up for themselves and saying, yeah, but all guys are not perverted assholes like those other guys. Mm. And look at me. And they're not standing up for themselves. And that's why they feel so powerless, because they're placating women publicly and in conversations at the dinner table. But when they talk to me and they say, hey, I'm scared. You're scared because you're not using your power.
Wow. I could talk with you for hours, I'm sure. There's one more thing I just want to address before we go. And then you promised an interview with me in the future, a longer one where we go really in depth. But you produced a video about very relevant to the pandemic. And it really resonated with me. You talked about us being physically constrained at the home, being physically instructed to go home. And yet there's also this kind of metaphor as well, going home to learn about oneself. and to take a rest. And you said you believe very strongly that God is giving us an opportunity to rest. Otherwise, he will make you rest. And I can personally vouch for that in my own life in the past. And I won't go into detail now, but could you please elaborate on that for us?
Well, yeah, let's think about that. When creation came, 6 days he created, the seventh day he rested. And the Bible says that he makes me to lie still. He makes me to lie by still waters. There's value in rest, which is something I talk about in my emotional warrior program. I always tell men, like, rest is not a luxury. It is a necessity. And so especially in our Western world, we get forced to push, perform, accumulate, buy more, do this, go on that vacation, buy that home, get that car. And in order to do all that, we've got to be constantly going. And to be able to rest, it's like, oh, no, I remember someone used to tell me, an old gentleman from Texas, he would say, Erica, you sleep when you die. And I was like, and that's how you die young, with that methodology. Yes, we are being forced. It's so easy for us to perform and to distract. In Western society, we are like pros at that. The minute the conversation becomes awkward, what do? We get on our phones. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're the kings and queens of distraction and producing. But and that's great. Not distracting, but producing. I think we're made to produce.
I think is distraction. I think. And you mentioned
it's a lot of distraction.
Yeah, and you mentioned about how now is a time where we can't necessarily go out and get distracted. We're almost forced to come home, physically and metaphorically, to learn about ourselves, take the opportunity to learn about ourselves, to live with ourselves.
We are being forced to reconcile with ourselves and face ourselves in the mirror. And, at first that's scary. That can be really scary. I think there's a lot of mental health that's going on. I personally have lost friends to suicide during this time. It can be very, thank you. It can be very scary coming and facing ourselves, because when we come from traumatic backgrounds, things like that, coming home is effing terrifying.
Yeah.
But what I always tell people is, if you can get past the shadow, you can get past the hurt. This is why we distract, because we don't want to feel the pain. But the minute that we do, there is glory on the inside of us. There's beauty. There is profound, there's a light inside of all of us waiting to shine. There's more good in you than you ever imagined, but you're never going to find that good unless you take the time to rest, unless you take the time to sit in silence, to sit with yourself and say, what am I feeling? And not run away from those moments, not turn on the television, not get on Instagram, not get on Netflix. What am I feeling in this moment? And I don't have to run, because I'm an emotional warrior. I don't have to run away from this moment. I don't have to run away from it. I can face it. And I say, if you can face the darkness, the light will always come. It's that tension of being in the darkness that most of us miss when we want to run away. But if you can just sit in that, I promise you the light always will come. Light always comes. And so I always encourage people, love yourself enough to rest and to sit with yourself, because you're more good than you realize.
That's a powerful message, Erica. And I want to keep going on, but I think this is actually a really good place to say, I will talk to you again soon.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your website where people can...
Yeah, sure. You can go to my website. I always encourage people to go to my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, because it's super addicting and you'll fall in love with me. Then when you come to my website, you're going to be more inclined to hang out.
And you're so modest. It's so charming.
I love myself. Damn it. I'm going to shine that shit out. My YouTube is Arica Angelo. It's A, not E, Erica. It's like Africa with no F, Arica Angelo. And my website is just my name, ericaangelo.com.
Awesome. So we touched on some really powerful points today, and I know there's a lot more there. I really look forward to interviewing you again in the very near future, Erica. And I know you have a lot more of incredible value for our viewers. And with that, I want to thank you on behalf of myself and the Etiquette Show. Stay safe, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to the Etiquette Show. I'm Conchetta Rose. Today on the Etiquette Show, we have, for the past 3 decades, He has promoted over 1,000 authors, ranging from mega best-selling authors such as Dr. Ruth, Jeff Foxworthy, and Henry Winkler, as well as first-time self-published unknown authors and everything in between across all genres. His clients have been featured in the New York Times, USA Today, and the Wall Street Journal, as well as nationally syndicated radio and television shows. Here to discuss his latest blog, Book Marketing Buzz Blog, is Brian Feinblum. Brian, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you. What a wonderful introduction. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I mean, you've done all these wonderful things, so you're helping us out. So, okay, so for the completely unknown, what is book marketing?
Sure. Book marketing, in essence, is for every writer that puts out a book. They want that book to sell. They want their voice heard. So book marketing is everything you think it would be. It's selling your book, advertising, traditional media interviews, book reviews, social media is huge. Anything you can do to get the word out. So it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work for many authors.
Right. So that's where you come in, obviously.
Yes. So I've been doing this for many years. So they look hopefully for an expert such as myself,
right,
to do it for them or to guide them and help them on what they can do to help themselves. Because there's a lot out there. Everything is changing constantly, as you know. There's a new app for this and a new media outlet for that. And authors need to know, what can I do to promote my book? They work so hard on it. It's their baby. And now I help them take their baby and get it to college.
I love that. So you're really helping these writers kind of on that next step. So the writers create, they make a book, and then what do they do with it, right? And then they bring it to you, and you launch them, really.
That's exactly right. That's right. I like that word, launch. And that's really what it is. We're taking that boat and pushing them out to sea, and hopefully they won't sink.
The book marketer for over 30 years. I mean, first of all, how has that marketing changed?
Oh, my God. Everything has changed, and in some ways, not everything. Obviously, everything in terms of technology. So when I started out back in 1989, I graduated college, Brooklyn College, local boy.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a journalist, and because I'm a writer at heart. That's really what I am, a creative person, a writer, communicator. And I applied mistakenly in the #1 media market, thinking I'm going to get a job writing for a newspaper or a magazine here. And I was warned, you got to go somewhere that's smaller to start out. But instead, after getting all those rejections, I decided, well, let me do something that's similar to newspapers and the media. Let me work in book publishing. You're around words and creative people. I started doing publicity at a small publishing house, and I fell in love with it. So I kept with it. I ended up promoting tons of authors, working at several book publishing companies, worked for a large book publicity firm. And then last year I went out on my own. I'm so happy to be an entrepreneur now. And my book marketing practice is going well. Thank you.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
And I have to say that the #1 thing that I do to promote my business, aside from, of course, enjoying talking to you and other people, the blog, the Book Marketing Buzz blog, it's been almost 10 years, almost to the date that I began writing this blog. And I thought initially I would do it to try and brand myself, and I just like writing, but I fell in love with it. I do it almost every day. It's addictive. To communicate and help others. And so I do that for a living, and I do that for a hobby. I just love to be around books and the written word. I mean, there's a book about everything, right? Everyone has a story to tell. You have a story to tell, whether it's a memoir, a professional book, a novel, a poem, children's book. So to me, books are great. They spark dialogue. They help people. They entertain them. They motivate them. They educate themselves. So to me, books are really precious, even in this age of technology and Netflix and everything else. Nothing beats a book in my mind.
Totally agree. I totally agree. So what can people expect to read on your blog? Like what kinds of topics do you cover?
Sure. So, I mean, I've been blogging, as I mentioned, for almost a decade and almost daily. So I have almost 4,000 blog posts up there. And right? Like, what else can you talk about for 4,000 blog posts?
Wow.
Every day something occurs to me, and there's a message in there somehow that relates to books and marketing. I could be doing something with my kids. I have a 16 and a 13-year-old. They may do something that sparks an idea in me. Yeah, authors should be promoting themselves the way my kid spoke up in class today. Or, I went to go buy a car a few months ago. Authors should negotiate the way I negotiated my deal to buy a car. So there's always something in real life that you can extrapolate a message that has to do with marketing or communicating or publicity, because that's what you do every day. You're always marketing yourself, even when you're marketing yourself on a date, you're marketing yourself at work, you're marketing yourself when you're fighting for that seat on the subway. Every day you're negotiating, marketing, and communicating. And authors have to do that to promote their books. So I write a lot about some real practical stuff. Here's how here's 10 things to say in an interview, media coaching tips. Here's 15 things you can do to sell your book. Here's 10 ways to be a better speaker. Here's how you write your press release that gets attention. Here's how you perfect being on Twitter and not just writing about what you ate for dinner last night. Wow. So it's all good stuff.
That's amazing too. And I mean, a blog is free, so anybody can read the last 10 years that you've written.
That's true.
And feel like they've had their own personal marketing coach.
Yes.
10 years. You can read 4,000 entries here. And really, I mean, I'm ready to market a book. I don't have one, but maybe after this I will.
You're ready. Write one.
Notice, nowadays I do feel like everyone's writing down their life stories.
Yes.
Do you feel like that's a trend that's happening? Or
yeah. And enormously. So when I began promoting authors, a lot of books that I would promote were primarily nonfiction, but not exclusively. And they were books about how to be a better boss, how to be an entrepreneur, how to have a better relationship, how to lose weight, how to make more money, etc. Things that people need and common sense stuff. And those books still exist. But now, in addition to that, memoirs and personal stories. I overcame addiction. I was a victim of sexual assault. I had a bad marriage, whatever it may be. And a lot of times it was negative things, which is interesting. A lot of memoirs are not just I did something great and look at my life story. It's, I had some horrible things happen or some challenges in life, but I overcame them. So there is something inspirational and positive and motivational that comes out of these stories. But it's amazing how many people have a story to share. And each one's a little different. And each one, the author's words really matter as to how they convey something and evoke a feeling or an idea.
Well, I love that you're like, of the mindset that each one does matter, not, we've heard this before. We've seen this story already. Right. I know this person. I know that person. Let's see something new. It's really new every time. So
yes. And the key, you're right. And the key is not just whether I feel jaded or used to hearing the same story. It's the media and the people that they have to convey their message to, whether it's social media or traditional media. How do you get other people to realize my story is unique? My story counts. You can learn something from me. That is part of the challenge. How do you stick out when your story may sound similar to something that's already out there or that people heard?
Yeah. Now, is that something you help the authors with?
Yes. Yeah. So that's very important. It's that media coaching and positioning and phraseology that they use, whether it's to write a blog post, talk to the media, or speak at a conference somewhere. They have to know how do they position themselves, how do they brand themselves, how do they say what they say so that it captivates people. How do you choose to not say certain things? Sometimes it's very important that we self-censor or edit ourselves just for various reasons, even though we'd love to have everything on our mind come out. And sometimes you see that on social media. When you want to present a book and sell a book or any product, you have to realize now you're out in the public. So what can you say that will be true to yourself and impress people, but hold back maybe on the stuff that's not as helpful or even relevant to your message?
Yeah, well, I'm a pretty well-known oversharer, so I feel like there's many reasons why I can hire you to help me. More about that. So what exactly do you do to help these authors, these writers achieve their dreams?
Well, that's a good question. So, a lot of them just need support, mental support, guidance. I'm almost like a therapist to them, because they live in their minds and their worlds and their words. They need someone to give them perspective of how things actually sound. And sometimes it could be something as simple as giving them feedback on their website, things that they've created and done. And I'll say, that's wonderful, but by the way, you missed something really huge here, or, that shouldn't be on there because people are going to get the wrong idea. So it's someone with obviously professional experience and a background and a passion that can give them guidance. So I give them a lot of information, a lot of resources. And then, of course, I do heavy lifting. If they want to hire me to go out and contact the news media and get them on major, TV shows, radio shows, print media outlets, online outlets. So I do everything. It's anything from coaching and strategizing, support, and writing their press materials to actually reaching out to the media and doing things for them.
Wow, that's amazing. So, so obviously you very much, forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn, but it seems like you very much love what you do. You're very passionate about it. Okay, good. So why do you love this position? Why do you love working with authors in this way as opposed to, like selling a product or something like that, working with a company? Why do you like working with an individual?
Yeah, there are many people who can sell a widget, a product, a service, and they're good at it. Almost to a fault. I love taking those same skills that you need to push out a product or a service and present words and books and ideas, because books are people. When I promote a book, I'm really promoting a person. I'm promoting you, I'm promoting your friend, I'm promoting your mom. And so I want to treat them respectfully. They have a voice to be heard, and you shouldn't have to wait to hear someone's eulogy to hear their story. It should be while they're living and they have something to say, and create a dialogue. I may not even agree with everything that my authors or clients say, but I believe it's their right to be heard. I believe in free speech. I want to promote literacy. I want an exchange of ideas. No one should be silenced, even for people that you think, shouldn't have a platform. Everyone should have the chance to talk. And I believe that good debates will lead to good decisions by people. So if you hear a message that sounds wrong or incorrect or hateful, then you'll know not to embrace that message. And if you hear something that sounds right and loving and empowering, then you'll embrace it. So I think it's really important to someone's out there championing the authors. And that's me.
I feel like you are the exact right person to do that. So what's your favorite part about everything that you do? Do you have one favorite part or several?
I enjoy certainly the beginning parts, like dating. You get to know the author. You get to hear their story in the raw for the first time before we try and figure out how to package it and present it. I just want to know at the core of it, why did you write the book? Who are you? And sometimes have some really interesting, amazing stories or helpful advice. So I love that getting to know people stage. And then I love it when something goes right, something that I taught an author works, that they come back and they, oh, Brian, that idea you just did, I just won this book award, or I just got this media interview, or, I just got 100 people to click on my blog when I was getting nobody to click on it. And so that makes me feel good. I'm like a teacher or a parent, my kid did well today. I feel good.
Dude, that's amazing. Do you have a number in your head, a rough estimate of, I know I said over 1,000, but do you have a rough estimate of how many authors you've actually worked with over 30 years?
Gosh, I did try and think about that. Certainly conservatively over 1,000, but it could be many more. I mean, I've interacted with tens of thousands between people I speak to and at conferences. I've written articles and talked to people like yourself, so I don't even know.
Yeah. But in that sense, not knowing is kind of amazing because you lost count of how many.
Absolutely. It's that many, yes.
How can people get in touch with you? How can they follow you?
Oh, thank you. If you're on Twitter, my handle is @thePRExpert. And if you want to find my blog, it's bookmarketingbuzzblog.blogspot.com.
Yeah.
And on my blog has my email address, brianfeinblum@gmail.com. I would love to help everybody.
Yeah. So amazing. That's what we're all about on the Etiquette Show, is helping others, helping your community. I love what you're doing, Brian. You are in the exact right job you're supposed to be in. I mean, that's how when you have this much joy. Look at his face. Look how much joy he has with what he does. That's amazing. Please keep doing it. Please spreading that good love out there. And thank you so, so much for being on the Etiquette Show with us today, Brian.
I loved it. Thank you for having me.
Fabulous. Thank you, guys. See you next time. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to the Etiquette Show. I'm Conchetta Rose. As a father, founder Craig Watson understands the severity of nut allergies. To create desserts accessible for children to enjoy in school, Baked Cravings has dedicated themselves to build and maintain a nut-free facility. Today on the Etiquette Show, we have Baked Cravings founder, Craig Watson. Craig, thank you so much for being here with us today.
How are you? How you doing?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
That's great. That's great.
Craig, let's talk about your menu right away. So what inspired you? So you're a father, obviously.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And my oldest daughter had nut allergies growing up. So it's something I was returned to, and I got lucky. I was also in the finance department of a bakery that was also nut-free. So I got a chance to see the business, understand the business, and that business kind of scaled down to only an online format. And realizing there would be a void of nut-free bakeries in New York City, I spun up Baked Cravings.
Brilliant. Genius.
Yes.
What's on the menu?
Oh, man, we have tons of stuff. We have cupcakes, we have cookies, we have brownies, we have popcorn, we have infused cupcakes, we have cupcakes in a jar, a lot of things to do. Yeah.
Cupcakes in a jar look so delicious, like I can't stand it. So are you guys delivering right now?
Yes, we deliver. We also have in-store pickup, and we ship nationally as well. So.
Oh, fabulous. So
yes.
way out in Staten Island, so I can get some cupcakes today.
Oh, yeah. You can get some cupcakes in a jar sent right to your door. Yeah.
So I want to talk about what your favorite is on your menu.
My favorite is the cookies and cream. And if we're talking the infused, I got to go with the cognac cupcake in a jar. Delicious.
Okay, yes. Let's take a quick pause and talk about your party pack infused cupcakes in a jar. Okay, my friends, understand what we're saying here. Alcohol in the cupcakes. Are you kidding? You're brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good.
This idea.
We have a lot of kids, but they also have parents. And so it was, brought to us by parents, say, hey, we need something for us. And we split it up for them, yeah.
Such a genius idea. I probably will be ordering that in about 10 to 20 minutes for my evening. All right. Our host on the street, Yanni, had the pleasure of visiting Baked Cravings this week. Yanni?
Okay. I'm Nick Catucci. We're here on the Etiquette Show. I'm here with Craig Watson at the lovely Baked Cravings restaurant. Craig, what was your inspiration for opening Baked Cravings?
We're a nut-free, peanut-free bakery in New York City, and I knew there would be a void of that. So, hey, just wanted to make all the kids in New York City happy and able to have nut-free treats.
Awesome. So I've just come inside. I mean, it smells great. You guys are obviously in high production. What separates you from the other bakeries around?
We also offer national shipping, so we do a lot of shipping out. So it's one of the things that we also offer cupcakes in a jar, which is we do a lot of stuff for corporations, a lot of synergy, a lot of team building products. Yeah.
Very cool. And I mean, you guys got great signage, great colors. Is there any background to that we should know about?
No, we just thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, the orange, it's very vibrant. You got a great corner location here.
Yep.
Any interesting stories that a customer might not know about if they didn't hear it from you?
Well, we just signed a deal with Amazon Fresh, so we'll be rolling out nationally our cupcakes in a jar. So you'll be able to order on Amazon Fresh and have it delivered within 2 hours if you're in that select market Amazon's available at. Yes.
Awesome, Craig. Awesome, Craig. awesome, Craig. So, when it comes to creating a new, item for your menu or something, for instance, like a cupcake in a jar, how do you come up with that kind of an idea?
It's normally a team effort. Someone comes up with an idea, we try it out. If it works, it sticks, we run with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. And, obviously you got a lot of foot traffic here. It's an excellent spot. What do people come in for, and, what keeps them coming back, and what's that relationship like?
Normally it's the cupcakes in the jar, the cupcakes. We have very good brownies in store. So once people come in or they walk by and they smell it, it's just an attraction. Yeah.
About how old were you when you got into baking?
Oh, man. Sheesh, I've been baking since I was about 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Craig, anything else you'd like to say?
Swing by. We have 2 locations. We have another location in East Village, 102 St. Mark's Place, and here we're located on 105th and Lexington Avenue, New York City. And we also offer national shipping, so you can go on our website, bakecravings.com, and we got some treats for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Craig. Thanks for being on the show.
No problem. Thank you.
Hi, guys. This is the studio reporting to you in the heart of New York City in the beautiful Times Square with the Etiquette Show. Today, we're going to find out how single New Yorkers feel about dating during the pandemic and what trends they have been noticing. Hey, guys. This is the studio with the Etiquette Show, and with me, I have...
Miguel.
And how has Corona impacted your love life?
That is a very, very sad story. You just being indoors so much, you don't meet any new people.
Yeah.
All the old people you used to know, you start not connecting with them anymore. And it's like, you're not meeting anybody new either, so.
But isn't that nice? You're just kind of releasing everyone that wasn't a real...
Yeah, you're living it. Okay, so you are?
Yeah.
But then it's like you're spending more time with yourself, and it's like...
What do you mean? Okay, so how do you feel about Tinder, Hinge, sliding through the DMs?
Engaged. I engage.
Yeah.
But with COVID and stuff, you never know people, I personally don't live with my parents, so I don't care as much. It sounds messed up a little, but I'm not going to get them sick, so.
Yeah,
if someone lives with their grandma, maybe they're a little more cautious.
So how have you been trying? Is there ways that you've been able to meet people during this time, whether through
mostly just on walks. I'll just go on a walk or something.
Yeah.
I live by a university campus, so I just go walk by it.
That's really smart, actually.
Yeah, you meet a lot of people.
So how do you go about approaching somebody?
Normally just a slight compliment, oh, I really like your shoes, or oh, nice hair. They're like, oh, you smell really good, even though masks,
So do they really smell good, or are you just saying it?
Well, they don't know that, so.
Okay.
She doesn't have to know, but it's
Yeah, so before Corona, how did you meet people?
Before Corona? Oh, at parties with my friends, hanging out. I'm from Vegas, so we go out on the strip, meet tourists.
Oh my god, yeah.
Everywhere, now you can't do that.
So is dating different in Vegas than New York?
Well, I've only been here today.
Oh, sweet.
I'm just visiting.
Yeah.
So I can't really speak on that, but.
So what's the dating scene like in Vegas?
Everybody knows each other, so it's, even though it's a city, it's still a small city.
Yeah.
So you burn a bridge if you talk to one person. You talk to one girl, she's friends with every other cute girl, so you just burn your bridges.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
So are you gonna move?
Hopefully.
Yeah, Sedona, Arizona next, right?
Arizona, no.
Where would you go?
Here.
Yeah?
Yeah. Look at this, you can do anything here.
So, what is your anything? What is your dream?
My dream. Let's see. My dream. Honestly, just to have my family remember me in a good way and just feel good about anything I do. It doesn't matter, I feel as long as I know that they support it and they're proud of me, it's I'll be okay.
So how's your relationship with your mom?
Really good.
Yeah.
That's my homie.
That's my homie.
Yep.
I read somewhere that if guys have good relationships with their moms, then they have good relationships in the future.
Yeah.
So he looks single, I think.
I like to think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, so what has been the biggest challenge for you in your love life besides meeting people during COVID?
Besides meeting people during COVID? Again, just the burnt bridges thing. If you talk to one cute girl in a city like Vegas, you kind of just burnt all your bridges with every other cute girl. And
So,
it's just,
so what if you become just friends with all of them, and then in a month you pick one?
Well, then that's The Bachelor,
Yeah, that's what's up.
And it's just, it doesn't work, because it's then you just friend zone, and all they see you as a friend, and it's you get talked about as a friend in their circle, and it's you're just done.
So have you ever been friend zoned?
Yeah.
Do you think that guys and girls can be friends?
Yeah. I have friends that are like girls.
Yeah. So someone that friend zoned you, that you guys like still became like.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
To this day.
Yeah.
And I'm happy it happened because it's like it probably would have ended the relationship would have ended badly and we wouldn't be friends, you know. So now we're just friends, like good friends.
Yeah. So you guys, like, you don't have any feelings, she never gets any feelings, you guys are good?
Well, it's like, you know, sometimes because we usually hang out in like a group.
Yeah.
If it's just like two people, like the two of us, it's like, you know, a little friction sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, it's normally okay. Doable.
Yeah.
Doable.
So, if somebody had feelings for you, would you try to avoid them, or would you try to still be their friend?
Oh, I was trying to be their friend. Because I just feel like it's rude, like, you know?
Yeah.
People's feelings, I feel like if you hurt their feelings, you're really hurting them.
Yeah. But what about people that are trying to avoid hurting other people's feelings, so they just run away?
Oh, see, so then you're just...
It's like
oh gosh, that's like an inception.
Yeah.
No, it's like... I think you're just more messed up if you do that, because everyone deserves an explanation. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Just let people know, like, hey, I'm not into you. Like,
yeah. Okay. And what has your best relationship been like?
My best relationship?
Yeah.
Oh, so I actually had a high school sweetheart.
You had a high school sweetheart, yeah.
That was probably, you know, you did all the cliche high school stuff.
Yeah.
Just young love.
Yeah. So what happened if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it always happens, you know, it just ends.
Yeah.
I feel like all good things do, and it was just like, it's just time.
The good things end soon, so the great things can come your way.
Yeah, and it's like you just gotta move on.
Yeah.
Next chapter.
So how did you move on completely?
Oh, I don't think I have.
Okay, sounds
Not completely.
Good. Thank you for your honesty.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Terrible.
And what kind of advice would you give to anyone right now trying to meet new people?
Just put yourself out there. It's don't be afraid to be embarrassed. Like, it's whatever. Worst case scenario, you never see him again.
Yeah.
Like, what do you got to lose, you know?
That's awesome. Thank you so much. That was a great interview. Oh my god. Hi guys, this is Celia with the Etiquette Show, and with me I have
Deja, sorry.
It's okay. And how has Corona impacted your love life?
Lord, my love life?
She said Lord, yeah.
Well, I mean, I gave coronavirus to my boyfriend. Well, we had it for a whole month.
Yeah.
It's all good now.
And how did was he mad or upset?
No, he just wanted to take care of me, so.
Oh, that's so sweet. You gave it to him, but he still cared about you.
Yeah, he did.
I hope y'all get married. That's love.
I hope so. A year and a half, so.
So were you guys one of the couples that had to spend more time or less time together?
In the beginning, I would have to say more time, but then because, you know, coronavirus and the economy and stuff, we both lost our jobs, so we had to move to another state.
When's he coming back?
Yeah, never.
Oh, what do you mean?
No, he wants me to move to PA with him, so I'm thinking about doing that.
Alright.
Yeah.
What kind of, do you wish that he could move here?
He doesn't want to move back here.
What? It's so nice here. This is New York. Look at it.
He's been here all his life. He just wants to move, so.
And how do you feel about that?
I don't really blame him. Like, I kind of want to move too.
Yeah.
So,
And what would you contribute to your relationship working out so well?
Communication, like that's just the best thing to keep right now to, you know, keep a healthy relationship. All the communication.
Oh, that's true. Well, I have one last question. Most couples, they fought more because they had to spend more time together. Most people, when they have to go through distance, they go through challenges. So, what has helped you guys the most throughout those challenges?
Oh, Lord. Honestly, we faced more challenges than I even expected throughout this, you know, whole experience with the coronavirus and within our relationship.
Yeah.
I know that our communication was really bad, but you know, throughout time it got better. Because, you know, if you want to be with somebody for a long time, then that's the only thing that we had a problem with was communication.
And I'm glad it seems like you guys both grew throughout your problems and just got better and better.
Right, yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And there you have it. This is Celia reporting to you in Times Square. Now back to you in the studio.
Do you have a humorous social etiquette or dating-related experience to share? Send in yours. And if we read aloud your experience during a television broadcast, we will send you a free copy of Andre Prince de Grace's intriguing new book entitled infinite shades of happiness, love, and virtual dating. Email us at info@etiquetteshow.ca. That's info@etiquetteshow.ca.
I know. This is awesome. Oh.
Move over.
Move over.
Hey, move over.
Move over.
Dad, move over.
Slow down and move over. Lives depend on it.